What's up YouTube, it's your old school expert, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about faded LOB and Metal Raiders Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So we're going to start with LOB. I only have a few examples. They're a little bit more rare for LOB than for Metal Raiders. You see a lot more Metal Raiders faded stuff. So real quick, what is a faded card? What we believe, and there's no proof yet. Some people say it's sun fading, and I suppose that could be true. But if these faded cards were because of sun fading, why don't you see, Magic Ruler, Pharaoh's Servant, Labyrinth of Nightmare, and subsequent sets have faded cards? You really don't see them from any sets except LOB and MRD. So what is a faded card versus a non-faded card? Let's look at some LOB examples. So unfortunately, the only example I have of a faded LOB card, two of them are graded, so they're a little bit harder to see, but you can compare the ungraded one to the graded one. The graded one is actually faded, and the best way to tell, other than its much lighter color, is the level star. And the level star is, as you can see, much more faded and I guess just dim on the faded version as opposed to the non-faded version. And the same thing goes for this example of the left arm, where we've got an ungraded version that is not faded at all, it's fully colored, and then this faded version. So what is causing this if it's not sun damage? What we believe, and this test print is a great example, is that sometimes some of these colors will run a little bit lower than the rest of them while they're printing, and I guess the quality checks don't catch it. So these are the four primary colors that they use for printing Yu-Gi-Oh cards. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh card test print. You guys have probably seen lots of these before. There's the Yu-Gi-Oh back. And these are typically discarded, but they're sometimes included in certain releases and stuff by accident. So anyways, you've obviously got black, yellow, magenta, and blue. And what some of us in the community believe is that when the magenta runs low, that is what causes this faded look. And it definitely shows on those level stars, because level stars are kind of orange and yellow, which would be a bit of a combination of this yellow and this magenta here. So we'll move on and show some Metal Raiders cards from like least faded to most faded in my collection. This one is going to PSA, so that's why it is in this card saver. But this is a faded Magic Jammer, and you can definitely tell the difference between a faded and a non-faded trap card, even though they don't have level stars. It's actually really obvious with the traps because they're mostly a purplish magenta color. So next I'll show you this Sangha of the Thunder example. You got faded on the left and non-faded on the right. The big giveaway, other than the lightness and darkness of the colors, is these level stars. They look so much different. You can really tell how the faded level stars just really are faded. I don't know what else to say. They're so faded. It's kind of a dead giveaway. Here we've got an example for Summon Skull. We've got the faded on the left and the non-faded on the right. And my Gate Guardian examples, faded on the left, non-faded on the right. And then this one is probably the most obvious example that I have, is the Thousand Dragon. I feel like these are really different. They almost look like two different cards. Those level stars look just insanely faded on this faded version here on the left. And the version on the right is just bursting with color, both in the level stars and the rest of the card, all the purple that obviously comes from this magenta color. So it would appear that this magenta runs low, and occasionally a print or two, like a few sheets or whatever, get printed with the low colors, and quality assurance isn't catching it, or whatever quality checks they use, if they use any, or used any, weren't catching it, so some of these prints got out. So that is kind of faded LOB and MRD in a nutshell. I'm not going to get like too crazy into it. Which one's more rare? Obviously the faded cards are more rare. Does that mean they should be more valuable? That's up to people to decide. I personally don't care for them that much. They're kind of cool. I like to look at them and go, wow, that one's really faded. In terms of collecting, I actually prefer the full colored versions, except the traps. The traps are the only thing that I think actually look really nice. The Fusions look kind of cool too. But if I were going to, if I had to make a decision whether I wanted faded or not, if I had that decision to make, I would definitely choose not, because they just, I don't know, they don't look as good. They look kind of cheap. They almost look fake, but I can assure you they are not fake. They're 100% real, legitimate. And yeah, that one's got a little damage up here. But yeah, it's really, they're legit cards. They're just faded, and you don't see them too often. But again, I don't think it's sun damage, because I feel like sun damage would, we would see it from a lot of other sets, and it's just so hard to find anything faded beyond Metal Raiders. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is kind of a new thing to the community, to the collecting community. A lot of people are talking about it. There's some hype building up around it. Again, my opinion is that I prefer the non-faded. Like if I could switch these faded PSA 10 Exodia pieces with non-faded versions, I would. If someone would trade me straight up, I'd be okay with that, because the rest of my Exodia set's not faded, and I prefer the not faded ones. But a lot of people like faded, and that's cool. It's all about what you want. That's the beauty of collecting. Don't collect what people tell you to collect or what people say is rare or whatever. Collect what you like. That's what's important, because collecting is about nostalgia, not about how much money you have. If you want to show off how much money you have, show me your IRA. So that's going to conclude the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about faded versus non-faded. If you have an argument for why it might actually be sun fading and not printing, then let me know. But don't just say, oh, it's sun fading, and then don't provide any evidence with that, because that doesn't help. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh videos.